Hello, YouTube. Hope everyone's having a great day. I want to talk about two fragrances here, two of the same fragrances that I'd really like to talk about. Put this on the floor. Ombré Nomade and Ombré Nomade. One is supposedly reformulated, the other one is a more original bottle. The more original bottle, I'm going to probably refer to it that way. I bought it December of last year. So if you probably have anything, like I said, before June of this year, it's more than likely not reformulated. The newer bottle is just as beautiful looking. And when I read on the bottom, they're all the same. All the numbers are the same except the actual date and month in which it was released. And I want to start this out as a disclaimer. I don't really jump on the whole reformulation thing. I think oftentimes some of the reformulation things become nothing but a bandwagon. And the biggest issue I have with that is simply the fact that there's a lot of great scents out here that a lot of people are dismissing for the simple fact that, they have been reformulated. I'm going to mention a few fragrances that have been reformulated that nobody talks about. First and foremost, that is Bleu de Chanel. Bleu de Chanel has been reformulated a couple times, if I remember correctly, and if I have read correctly. Invasion Barbar was reformulated. Nobody talks about that. Musk Ravageur was actually reformulated after the first year of release. It was actually reformulated to make it more enjoyable to the nose. And a reformulation that I actually prefer, two of them are number one, Caron's Yadigan. I think the original is absolutely unbearable. I have a 1998 bottle. It is absolutely unbearable to wear. I much prefer the most modern version. And Dior's Leather Oud. I love leather oud. I'm a leather oud fanatic. And people were talking about when it was reformulated, how bad, how awful it was. It had no skank to it, no balls, no musks. Not that leather oudy pissiness and that deep patchouli chatter that people talk about. But I prefer the reformulated version. That's simply because it's easier to wear. When I had my original bottle of Dior's Leather Oud, I felt self-conscious wearing it. I thought other people around me would smell it and wouldn't like the smell. So I was always very light when I sprayed it on, and I kind of went through a bottle pretty quickly, but nonetheless, I preferred the reformulated version. It was just easier to wear, lasted just as long, it just didn't project as much. And that is what I'm going to say with this scent. This is the reformulated version. Have it here on my left arm, have the dry down, and let's get a little spritz. This is. I made a little marking on the bottom of the bottle to make sure, and I actually take the Louis Vuitton emblem, and I turn it around backwards to make sure. And this is the original. Now, believe it or not, this is not going to be an apples to apples comparison. This is probably going to be It's probably going to be a green apple and a red apple comparison. And I say that because Louis Vuitton does use real ingredients. They do use real oud, they use real rose. I know rose isn't listed in here. That's a whole other topic for another day. Is there actually rose in here, or do they use the fruitiness, the other florals, and the raspberry to create a rose accord? It's a whole different topic for another day. But I want to continue by reiterating the fact that whether you buy the most modern stuff or seek out an older bottle, I think they're both beautiful. I think they both do just as much for me. I think they do just as much. They would do just as much for someone else. I know when I posted on Facebook, some of the people in the comments were saying, oh no, it's been, sorry, my nose is itchy. It has been watered down, the color changed, all this other stuff. But then with Chypre Palatin, in which Claude Marchal defends to this day, has never been reformulated. He's actually talked about taking legal action against the person who wrote the review on how it's reformulated and how it's terrible, blah, blah, blah. Even if Chypre Palatin has been reformulated, it went from a 2-day fragrance to a 1.5-day fragrance on your skin. So who really cares? Okay. Beautiful, leathery, oudy, fruity, rosy. This one, right off the top, is a little more opulent. The original is a little bit more opulent off the top. I get more of a lift off the skin, if you know what I mean. If you ever have smelled the Chanel exclusives, the EDT has a little bit more of a pop off the skin. That's a little bit more radiant. They project a little bit better. That's what I get with the older formulation. This one is a little bit more flat on the skin. It doesn't necessarily pop. It doesn't necessarily lift. It's there on the skin. It doesn't mean it doesn't project at all. It just means it doesn't project as much. The dry down. Now, these dry downs have been on my skin for about 12 hours. Really don't get anything. Get a little bit of leather, a little bit of oud, and a little bit of fruity notes. I get a little bit of muskiness off of this. It might just be my natural scent. It might not. But get a little bit of muskiness. There is musk in here, of course, but as with mostly all fragrances. Like I said, pops off the skin. It doesn't pop off the skin as much. So really, is it reformulated? Has it been reformulated? I think that's up for you to decide. But at the end of the day, this is my biggest disclaimer: is do not write off this scent because of what someone else has said. Don't write off any scent because of what someone else has said. I did that with a couple other fragrances. I did that with Les Sables Roses. And I got a bottle, I sprayed it on, I let it sit, I let it mature, I let it really become itself. And it lasts on my skin now. I think it needed some air. And another thing, these bottles have not aged the same amount of time. Even though, believe it or not, the newer formulation bottle actually has the same amount of juice in it because of how much I've been wearing it and spraying it. So you can't, maybe that sped up the process a little bit, I don't know. But this is my thoughts. These are my thoughts on Ombré Nomade. These are on the new and reformulated version. I am going to go out on a limb and say it has been reformulated, just for the simple fact that it does not pop off my skin as much. Now, that could be because of the amount of air that's in the bottles, how long I've had the bottles, etc., etc. And I do also find, I want to make a note of this, that in the newer bottle, I'm going to say newer bottle, even though it's the same bottle, I just got it more recently, the scent is more dry. If you ever smelled Ombré Nomade, you know it is more of a wet scent. It really does have, wet characteristics. But the newer bottle is a little bit more dry on my skin. And I've noticed that for a couple of days. It is more dry. More wet, more dry. But like I said, I don't think you should write off this scent just because people are saying, oh, it's watered down. I don't think so. I mean, would you rather a fragrance project a lot on your skin for, 12 hours? Or would you rather a scent project pretty good off your skin for 10 hours? It's 2 hours of a 2 hours of a difference. Excuse me. Usually after about 10, 12 hours anyway, you should probably be taking a shower and washing yourself anyway. So it's kind of, give and take. And my whole thing with, if a fragrance lasts long is, do you last as long as that fragrance? It's kind of a little joke I have with myself and other people, but nonetheless, you decide, try it for yourself, get a sample, get a bottle, whatever your means of affording it is. So hope everyone has a great day.